Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Shipley.
Some people have it, well, some people really need it. Whoa,
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to be with you all today, and we have our special guest with us, Professor Robert Shipley. I'm excited to hear about his stories, of what he's done in his music career, and what he's done throughout his life and his tenure. But before we get to him today, we want to talk to Uncle Swift Sticks. Go ahead and greet the people, huh?
I would just like to welcome you all to Musicians Matters. This is our segment on Let's Talk Musicians Matters, and we would like to get some shots out to the people in the community. It's called Expertise Cosmetology, Barbers, and Beauty. It's off of 535 East Lake Mead Boulevard, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89030. Book your appointment at 702-399-3894. If you need that haircut or that your hair done, this is the place. I go there like at least once a week. They got some excellent barbers, and they got some excellent stylists, and they have some excellent trainers that's over there. If you need someone to really do your hair, go see my barber that's over there. His name is Jay. He's almost out of there. He's graduating this year, probably about in 2 months. So check him out. God bless you. We're getting ready to talk to a friend of mine that's been in my life that's was quite some time. It's called Professor Robert Shipley. God bless you, Robert Shipley.
Thank you, Rod. Swift Sticks.
So how did this start? How did your situation or your love for music start?
Okay, well, my love for music started at the age of 10.
Wow.
I'm from Chicago. Chicago's my hometown, born and raised, right? And I would have to talk about my dad. He was a recording engineer.
Yes, sir.
So at the age of 10, he bought me and my twin brother. I have a twin brother. He bought him an electric guitar, bought me a set of drums. We started school in the music program in grammar school, so I was in 5th grade. We started our first band immediately. So this was 1969, right? 50 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. We had several neighborhood friends in the band. You know, my dad built this recording studio. He was really handy with some wood and nails, and he built a soundproof studio in our basement.
Awesome.
He had all kind of stuff going on in our basement, televisions and audio, reel-to-reel tapes, everything built in the wall. And at that time, you know, that was unheard of. So that was really neat how he could get up and just knock down walls and put up walls and soundproof things, build an engineer's booth. So we had a nice little studio. We started our band. There was a local guy named James Miles, and he was somewhat of our coach. Now, the rumor was he was in the 5 Stairsteps. I don't know if that to be true or if it's a rumor, but he knew a lot of musicians around Chicago. And by his help and my dad's affiliation with musicians, my dad used to take us all over town, Chicago, and here we are 10 years old, going into nightclubs. And I mean, that's when bands were bands. So there were a lot of great local bands in Chicago at the time. The 5 Stairsteps, they were a big hit. They had that tune, Ooh Child, was their big hit. We started taking lessons as well in the brick and mortar. I don't even remember if it was Guitar Center. I think it was just like a music store with something like a Guitar Center in the plaza, and they taught drum lessons. So I took drum lessons there. I had the band program at school. I had my band in our basement practicing every day, aside from doing our little homework. So while most kids were out playing sports, football, street basketball, whatever, we were practicing. I guess at that time, one of the big influences for me were the Jackson 5.
Yes, sir.
Sly and the Family Stones, Motown. There was Aretha Franklin, and my older sister. She was the one playing all the R&B music around the house. So I had great influences musically with the R&B coming from the records my sister were playing. The groups we were trying to emulate as a band, as our own band. So we had the Jackson 5, Sly and the Family Stones, Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin. We had a female vocalist. And the local bands we would go see, and how profound of an influence it was to see a very powerful band play live. And
yes,
that's something the youngsters don't really get to experience because they're not old enough to go into clubs. And we weren't either, but my dad would take us backstage. We were just his hanging buddies. So he took us all over town to see these bands and how powerful those bands were when you're actually a master at your instrument. And for a young, budding, growing mind that wants to be in music, to see a professional drummer in a professional band with a big sound system. So one of the bands that really influenced us was called The Weapons of Peace. Finus Henderson, their drummer was Bill Leathers, and he also taught me drum lessons after I got a little older at Lion and Healy, downtown Chicago. So that's in a nutshell. That's how it started.
Amazing. I'm about to talk to you about one of my favorites. We're going to open up with Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan. As far as Chaka Khan, we open up with Chaka Khan, what did you like about this setting on this stage when you played for Chaka Khan?
Okay, well, for me to tell you what I liked about Chaka, I have to put it in perspective with the other artists that I work with.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I got a chance to work with, before Chaka, well, my first group was The Emotions. Well, actually, the very first group was a blues group, Clarence Gatemouth Brown. And I was like 19 years old, 2 years, maybe 20, 2 years out of college. And he grabbed me and moved me down to New Orleans. So I was down there, we recorded, we toured the world. That was my first time really touring the world and seeing Europe and different places. And while I was down there with him, I recorded a full album. It won Grammy for Best Blues Album. This was 1981. Okay, so Gatemouth Brown, The Emotions, Natalie Cole in 83. I was with her for 6 years. And with Natalie, it was a real family type of environment with Natalie. I loved her music and everything was great with the musicians and performing and starting to grow and get with better musicians, but it was a more family setting. The Temptations were great, loved their music, grew up listening to their hits and stuff. Ollie Woodson was their lead singer at the time, so that was amazing performing with him. But it was coming from Natalie, that was more business. Oh, I was with Diana Ross for 6 months before the Temptations.
Yes,
and that was like the biggest contract, the most professional, biggest production, biggest pay probably to date that I've ever experienced. And that was in 89. I got her gig here in Las Vegas. So I look at Diana as like a big production, contracts, great salary. It was my first time ever having a retainer where I was making more when we were off than I was making with Natalie, the 6 years I was with her. So it was great. The OJs, big fun, 12 years with them, and I love them because I love their music. So as far as getting with groups that I would say, oh, wow, when I was growing up, I want to play with them. The OJs might have been one of the first groups, and Shaka was the second group where I just really loved and grew up on her music and said, well, if I grow up, that would be an act I would like to play with, right? But Natalie Cole, not so much. I mean, she was great. She won a lot of Grammys, but it was a really family-oriented setting. And I loved her dearly for the camaraderie and the family environment feeling that I had with her group. Shaka was one of the most, I don't know, Shaka was just a real sweetheart. I mean, she invited us to her rooms after the shows, you know, if we wanted to. I never, as a rule, never like to hang out with the bosses, you know. I mean, I like to keep things separate because things can be said. You get a little too loose and a little too friendly. And I've seen it happen. You get fired from something that has nothing to do with your performance on the stage.
Exactly. Immediately.
Yeah, so I like to keep things separate. And Shaka was kind of like, you never want to hang out, but I just like to, no, you know, I'm good, you know, like I love you. She know I loved her and everything, but I just like to keep it separate. But what I can say about Shaka is, I think because she came up in the group Rufus, most artists consider themselves the principals and keep that kind of vibe, like, okay, I'm the principal. We can be family, we can be friends and all that, but still I'm a star and you're, you know, the side person. And with Shaka, you never really felt that. She always, you know, you could tell she grew up as a part of a band and she treated us almost as equals, you know. We would get raises without even asking for it. They'd be like, whoa, what happened? Oh, you know, she gave you a raise. And she was just really great like that. She's the only artist I work with that each musician, and not always, but most times, each musician would get their own limo or town car to pick you up at your house or your apartment, wherever you were living, and bring you to the airport. And when you got back from your gig, you had everybody had their own car to take them back. And I was living in LA, I was living way out in Rialto. So that was really nice. And that was just, you know, we didn't have to deal with parking or anything. It's just like, wow. And I think she made the promoters pay for it, which a lot of artists can't do. But a lot of artists won't put that in the contract because they don't really care about the musicians and how they're going to get to the airport and how they're going to get back. So that's little extra things like that really go a long way with the musicians and how it makes you feel appreciated, you know.
Did she ever play the drums for you? You know she is a drummer too.
Shaka, before I got her gig, I was over in France doing a residence for 2 summers, and over there, a lot of artists. We had Earth, Wind & Fire, we had Stevie, we had Shaka, we had Harry Connick. A lot of artists that would come there in Monte Carlo would come to our lounge because we wanted the band was great. I mean, we were killing. I got some really great musicians that were in the band. So it was Stevie, got pictures of people just us hanging out. And Shaka would get on the drums and play. When she would go places and sit in, they would want to hear her sing. She would want to get on the drums and play.
Yes.
And, you know, and Stevie got on the drums actually and played too. So that was kind of cool. I got to play with Stevie there, but I had lived with Dennis Davis, the drummer for Stevie. And that's back in the 80s when I first moved and I was playing with Natalie. Dennis Davis was my roommate in LA. So I spent a lot of time at Stevie's studio and his radio station, at his house, at parties. So that was a great experience too. But when we were in France, Stevie, you know, I got to play with him. We were sitting in jamming. Luther Vandross came and saw us. I mean, a lot of people, just about everybody that would come in the summertime. And I spent 2 summers over there would play. Now, as far as Shaka playing drums, we had a song called I Live You, I Love You that we would do. And she played the timbali solo on that song. So it was, you know, it was just like an 8-bar thing or whatever, but she just loved drums. So, you know, she wasn't like Sheila E. or nothing, but she could She could put something together and it would be entertaining. I'll put it like that.
Okay, we can ready to go to a segment of one of your songs. I guess it's gonna be tell me something good. I think let's play that song right quick.
Okay. Oh, this is I'm Every Woman. Oh.
Oh, man. But it's gone.
This is you with the OJ.
We got to have some more.
No, this is Chaka.
Y'all just can't leave us like that. We got to have some more. I'm sorry.
We're gonna do.
Come back. I want some more. I want
I'm
some
Every
more
Woman.
right now. I want some more right now. I want some more. Give me some more, baby. Put your hands together.
Ain't Nobody.
Yes.
That's my daughter right there.
Wow.
She's like 31 years old now, Brett.
She's 31.
She was like 8 or 9 years old then. She just happened to be in the league.
That's the way it moves. Happened so naturally. I did not know it was love. The next thing I know, hold me close. What was I gonna do? Let myself go. Now my desire, not to last forever. Yeah. I've been waiting for you so long. Here's what I'm gonna do. I heard your song. Filled my heart with you. Gave me peace of mind. You could not resist. I needed so much. Make my wish upon a star. Night will last forever. Now. Ain't nobody. Bring it to me. Every need of mine must be love. In every wrong, won't stream to fear. I need this fear. Got to feel it most with treasure. And I believe that
Shipley, you got it going on.
Oh man, that was in Montego Bay, Jamaica.
That was in Jamaica?
Yeah, Sinbad's HBO special.
Wow.
My daughter was just with me yesterday. Her birthday was Monday, so she came here to Vegas she lives in LA.
Wow.
And we were talking about that trip because some jellyfish stung her little butt. And when we were there in Jamaica, I forgot all about that. And she was she was telling me like we went to some witch doctor or some Jamaican witch doctor. It was a whole thing, but yeah, they hooked her up. Anyway, she's been fortunate enough to travel. She calls Shaka Aunt Shaka. Natalie was Godmommy Natalie, and Natalie used to send for her here in Vegas, and she'd have a suite at Caesar's Palace. This is after I left the gig. She just stayed in touch with all these people, but my daughter's never been starstruck. She's just been around artists all her life, so she's blessed.
That's amazing. Now you did something that I always wanted to do, but my wife is always telling me that this organization that we're doing is going to be big. So I'm not worried about that. So among all of those people, what was your reactions among like tons and tons of people?
You mean audience?
Yes, audience-wise.
Oh, it was just great. That's the humbling part is, to see the appreciation and the love of the fans. And I know they're not my fans. They're Natalie's, or they're the artist fans, the OJs, Diana Ross, Natalie Cole, and traveling all over the world. And like with Shaka, we went to South Africa twice. We did Mandela's 80th birthday party. We went over there in South Africa the first time. And so she would play different music, different songs that she knew were big hits over there that weren't necessarily the hits here. So different regions of the world or areas and countries of the world have different hits that they love that artist for. So that was a whole nother thing. Like, wow, we got to learn these tunes for South Africa. And we got to learn these tunes, for New York or LA or, Europe or whatever. So it's interesting.
Yes, sir.
And they love it, man. They, you feel like you're the biggest thing.
Yeah, definitely. You have something going on right now. You wrote a book. Tell us about your book.
Okay, so my drum method book. It's called The Art of Commercial Drumming, with emphasis on pocket drumming, right? So I just finished my sixth year here at UNLV. I was undergrad for 3.5 years, got my bachelor's degree, and in grad school, getting my master's, I switched my major from performance to composition. But in grad school, I'm so used to each class having assignments. That's what you do all semesters, one assignment after another. And in pedagogy, I believe it was in pedagogy, we had an assignment of learning, how to make CDs, how to publish a book, just do some research on publishing houses and the different processes.
Yes,
so
sir.
I found it interesting and like, wow, it took the mystery out of different things. Like, wow, this is something I don't think I could ever do that. But once you actually do the research and see, it's nothing but like another assignment, just write a book. And so I've always loved teaching drums. And I just didn't think I had an original concept or, just like music, there's only 12 notes, just like
right.
rhythm and just like rudiments and rhythms. There's a ton of rudiments, but they all are variations of single strokes and double strokes, flams. You know, after you get through singles and doubles and flams, they're all the same. They're just variations of those three elements. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So now, what have I done? All the drum books I've read all my life, what have I done, or what concept could I come up with that's a little not done before, original? I want to call it original, but I just don't know that the concept's out there. I haven't seen it in books before.
I think it's original.
Huh?
I think it was original.
Yeah, I got a concept in there. That's my book. Thank you. How to develop a solid groove and become a pocket drummer. So one time I've had the fortune of playing with Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns here, and Jerry Lopez, the founder of the group, his brother Lenny is a percussionist. Lenny was doing Hitsville, the show, one of the shows I did for 8 years, and he was subbing on percussion. He said, "Man, I love your pocket, Shipley." You know, they call me Ship. "I love your pocket, Ship. Man, you're a hi-hat drummer." And I was like, I had never heard that term before, a hi-hat drummer, but I kind of knew what he meant, because when I play my hi-hat, my foot is always going. Like when I'm not playing on it with my hands, when I do a feel or when I go to my ride, my hi-hat is always playing like 8 notes, keeping time. So that's kind of like my metronome. And
exactly.
That's a concept I got from some drummers Donzel Davis is one of the main ones that come to mind in Chicago. I got the concept growing up watching them, but I thought that was just something all drummers did. So when I was training some subs on one show or another show, I would say, "Okay, try this and do this," and they would see how I would play my hi-hat. And I'd ask them to do it, thinking, "Oh, it's helpful if you do this." And it was difficult for some of the drummers I was trying to train. So I said, "Oh, all drummers don't play like that. All drummers don't use that technique." And I've never seen it in a drum method book. You know, you have different ostinatos, like where you play on a swing pattern and then you read this different rhythm, or different rock method beats. It's not just swing, but rock method beats. You have an ostinato and then you have a pattern you read. So I said, let the hi-hat go and be a part of the ostinato, and then you'll read various bass drum patterns or whatever. So that's one of my concepts that I had, again, never seen in a drum method book before. So that's my concept with that. And I got a lot of other good stuff in there. In my travels to France, I stopped in a conservatory, and there was a guy named Manu that was a bass player, but he was teaching at a conservatory, young kids, piano player, bass player, trumpet player, drummer. But before he would start the lesson for the combo, he would take them through a series of rhythm patterns. And that you don't see. You see people teaching scales. Let's warm up with this scale. Let's warm up with, for melodic instrument players. Let's warm up with, some chord changes or whatever, but not rhythm. And rhythm is something that I found, I don't want to say a weakness, but something that's not often taught to all musicians.
That's
but
true.
They all deal with rhythm. So me being a professional drummer, I came in UNLV very strong with rhythm, but very weak with scales and harmony and melodies and stuff, because I don't play a melodic instrument. Anyway, this guy had a pattern of just rhythms that he would teach them, and just a 15, 20-minute warm-up every lesson, and it helped them with their soloing, with their coordination, and that. So anyway, I had him send me the videos of his patterns, and I transcribed it and put it in my book, and I sent it to him because he's never had it transcribed. He's had it.
Wow.
He learned over the years and he memorized, but I don't think he's had it transcribed, written out. So that's something I did. That's in the book. The pocket drum method thing is in the book. And then at the end of the book, I transcribed roughly about a dozen songs. So at the end of the book, you have stuff like some Bruno Mars, 24K, or Lenny Kravitz. You have some rock tunes. I just tried to mix up a variation of genres and the drum transcriptions, and I'm pretty good. That's something else I developed. I was good at writing out all my charts and reading charts, but as far as getting in with the music notation software like Finale or Sibelius, I got really good with that in school, and so I transcribed some really nice charts at the end of my book just to help drummers, play along with some songs on Spotify or YouTube or whatever, and actually see it printed out so they can know what the notation would look like on a chart, and learn that concept.
We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to go into one of your ballad songs from Natalie Cole. I Live for Your Love.
Cool. Yeah.
You want me to play that now, the Natalie Cole?
Yes, I Live for Your Love.
Yes, sir.
I performed this medley at the Newport Jazz Festival. Enjoy my tribute to Natalie, featuring Paris Red on vocals and David Romero on percussion.
Everywhere I go, and every face I see, the sign of love shining so brightly. You know that it's in the air. It's everywhere. I can feel it in my bones. People holding hands, making love, really, really get me on. I'm crazy about love. Oh, love. Don't you know that everywhere I'm crazy about love. Don't you know that everywhere, and everywhere I go, I hear people say that when I'm checking it out, baby, just get on down. Don't you know that like every beautiful, like every wonderful when you and always have that special someone around. You, I'm crazy about love. Don't you know that everywhere I'm crazy about love. I can see that everywhere in the air. You like romance and you don't want no damage. Check this out, baby. See, it is the feature that you never say. You gotta say, go blue, go over now. Don't you stop going on. You gotta hold on. There's a feeling and it's acting out. Look what's happening. Take a trip, make it hip, you might take it over. Beautiful life. Don't you know that? Don't you know that? Hey, Mr. Man. Oh, yeah. Hey, Mr. Melody, with the whole world to me. Without you, I would have no song. Yeah, it's a melody. You got the number to your baby. Oh, I get it. Oh, I like it. You really made a hit with me. Oh, it's a melody. It's the melody. You are my melody. You're the sweetest next to me. Won't you stay here for all time? You are my melody. You're the sweetest you can be. It's good to know you're mine all the night. Oh, it's a melody. You know, it makes me sing. I like loving you, you like loving me. Please don't ever change. It's the melody. It's the melody. Yeah. It's a melody. Yeah. It's
Actually, that was my senior recital here at UNLV. That was Paris Red singing a Natalie Cole medley that I got a chart from her musical director. And she did such, I love Paris Red. But Natalie Cole, there's a YouTube video of us doing that same medley at the Newport Jazz Festival. And so that's, you know, on my master's recital, my senior recital here at UNLV, I did a story of my life, and I did a segment of a lot of acts. I did Ben Vereen, we did Mr. Bojangles, I did Temptations, Treat Her Like a Lady. That was the Natalie Cole segment. I did the Billie Holiday medley to tribute Diana Ross. The OJs, we did For the Love of Money. Shaka, we did Steve Winwood's Higher Love. And so I did about 8 different acts in my life, like it was a story of my life thing. And that was the segment of Natalie Cole's tribute to Natalie Cole, featuring Paris Red. I can't hear you. You're muted.
And I was noticing that, and I was just saying congratulations on your endeavor.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That percussionist was David Romero. I've hired him on several things here in Vegas, but he was with Earth, Wind, and Fire for many years. Pancho Sanchez, Wayne Newton, a long list of touring artists. That guitar player has been with Earth, Wind, and Fire right now for probably 10 years. Morris O'Connor. He was with Stevie Wonder. He's with Tina Marie. And a lot of the musicians in there are from Santa Fe, which they do Donnie and Marie and Lion King and all the shows, Clint Holmes, all these shows up in Strip. So I had some of the best musicians on the Strip playing, in Vegas playing with me for that. It was fun.
What's your pros and cons on the stage as you doing a setting, bro? What would you not do? What would you do? What would you like to do, or stuff like that?
Some of my cons are things I would recommend for drummers, particularly, well, for all musicians. But personally, I've experienced a little bit of damage because of improper technique. So from the very beginning of your experience playing your instrument, pay attention, the utmost attention to form and your technique, how you hold the sticks, rebound, don't grip them too tight. That was kind of my thing, which I'm seeing it kind of caps off how far you will succeed and the level you will get to as far as your chops. How far you can succeed in your chops on your instrument can depend on proper technique. So really pay good attention to that. That's one of the main things. With musicians, with music, with entertainers, it could be dancers, singers, anything. In arts, 9 times out of 10, you're performing on the Strip, or like in Vegas, on the Strip or in shows or something for people who work all year long and they save up their money and they come here to be entertained, but they're going to party, they're going to drink, they're going to do drugs, they're going to just lose their mind, like that's what people save up to do. And you may be in a corporate setting, you're at a corporate party, you're at an event, you're at New Year's Eve, whatever. So a lot of times musicians can get caught up in the fun part of their gig, and it is meant to be fun. And I'm not saying don't have fun, but don't get caught up in it because those people aren't on their jobs. They've done their 9 to 5 and it's their weekend or they're off their gig and they're out doing, extracurricular activities, you know what I mean? And you're on your job.
Exactly.
And so it took me a while in maturing and growing up to figure out, I'm on my job. Let me entertain them and let them do their thing or whatever, And I've seen a lot of musicians get caught up in that, Fortunately, didn't, but I've seen a lot of people really get caught up where it ends their career. And, that's one of the cons I would suggest. Just being aware, whatever you're going to do it at home or do it when you're off work or whatever, and don't let it, ruin your life, but, with moderation. And, just try to keep that separate because it matters. People are watching. You got entertainment directors. You have, your agent or whoever that booked you, your band leader. And you may think you're doing a great job playing, but a lot of people are watching you and they keep this stuff in mind. And I've kept a pretty good work ethic. And so I really try to promote being serious about your reputation and your work ethic.
That is great. That is great. We're gonna go to our last question of the segment. What would you like to tell the world today that's gonna make them feel better about this segment, this session, this situation that we're in today?
With the pandemic?
The pandemic, yes.
Well, one of the things I see resulting the music industry, the pandemic, I see, and I could be a little wrong, but from what I'm seeing, because music, Vegas is quote unquote 100% back open.
Yes,
But there are
sir.
still a lot of musicians out of work, and there's a lot of venues that haven't opened. Venues for music, live entertainment. A lot of gigs still haven't rebounded from the pandemic.
Exactly.
And so I know there's going to be a lot of changes in life in a lot of different industries, occupations. You know, a lot of employees may have found, oh, I can survive and stay home and do my job. So it's going to be, the world is changing because of this pandemic.
It's changed already.
Yes, it's changed already. You know, musicians have learned a lot. They've learned how to record video and audio with their band members, each from home. And what's wrong? Something wrong?
No, nothing's okay. Nothing's wrong.
Okay, so but no, to make a point, musicians have learned, and that's a good thing, to collaborate from home. Of course, we all miss the live experience of being on stage together, and so a lot of music fans are just crazy about being able to go to a concert and see a live concert again. You know, so that's fantastic. But it seems like music was one of the first things to go and one of the last things to come back and rebound. Not just music, entertainment, you know, the plays, Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really, that's one of the main effects of, because, you know, entertainment is my life. So I see that more than anything else. But I'm hoping, just for the sake of the musicians, now I've evolved from, I'm not out of playing and being an entertainer or a professional musician, but I've evolved, and I'm glad I went back to school to become an educator. And I just graduated May 13th, and I got a job at Hope College as the director of their jazz program. So I start my tenure there.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. It's a dream. You know, I actually got the job a week before I graduated, and I never would have assumed or imagined that 6 years ago, when I started this journey going back to school, that I would come right out of it and get a tenure, not just a professor gig, but a tenure professor gig, and the director of the jazz program at the college. So it's a big opportunity. I'm humbled. I praise God for it every day. And I just hope, you know, that I do well. But, you know, sky's the limit. It's a big opportunity for me to grow, for me to share my experience, because I think that was one of the main attractions for them to hire me as a professor, is my long track record of being a professional musician. And so the experience I can share with musicians. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't get off the point of your question, but yeah, the pandemic is something that really has affected musicians. And I really look forward to the day when it's really back open 100%. And all the musicians that I've known, and even the musicians who are new to the profession here in Vegas and around the world, get to get back and out there perform and entertain people live.
That's right. So we're gonna close with your last song. The one that I like is from the Emotions. And then
Oh, the opening. You mean from my recital?
yes, the Emotions.
Yeah, Boogie Wonderland. That was the opener of my recital. I think that's what you're going to show. I'm not sure. I think that's the only video I got of me related to the Emotions. But
That's the only one?
that's the only one of me related to the Emotions. And that's not the Emotions, but it was my tribute to them in my
Okay,
recital.
so we've already seen it then.
No, you haven't seen that video, but you saw the Natalie Cole segment of my recital. That's a good video. But, you know, if that's what you want to show, that's fine. It was the opener, and it was my tribute to the Emotions. So it's a good video.
Yeah, it's amazing. So
But thank you for this opportunity.
hey man, I really appreciate you.
Performing songs that I play drums on with a multiple Grammy-winning artist over the years. Earth, Wind & Fire recorded this first piece featuring the Emotions. They were the first artists I've toured with. Please enjoy Boogie Wonderland.
Come on, put those hands together. Midnight creeps so slow, heart up into need more than they get. They light a bad hand to a woman who has laid too many beds. The mirror stares you in the face and says, baby, I'm not worth. You say you're rich, but you don't. You dance and shake the hurt.
Yeah, that was amazing. So
That's fun.
I would like to thank you, Professor, my brother Robert Shipley, for coming on this show today. And hopefully we can see you again.
Hey, man.
And I will see you at the next luncheon, if God say the same.
Yeah, I'll try to make that. And this was a real pleasure, man. I'm glad you invited me. I'm glad I was able to do it. And praise God.
Amen. So I'm just gonna close with this. Next, we like a week away from the drum clinic. It's gonna be next week on July the 3rd at the Wealthy Place.
He'll be back in a second. There he is.
Excuse me, it's this week at the Wealthy Place, 902 West Owens, July 3rd at 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. You will not want to miss this drum clinic, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be off the chain. We're going to have some dynamic drummers, to name a few, Hyundai Wilson, Ronnie Thomas, and we're going to have myself. We're going to have Sticks. He played for the Dramatics, Stylistics. He's going to be the one that's the master class of this. So I want you all to, if you can make it, be there 11 to 3 o'clock. It's going to be at the Wealthy Place, 903 West Owens. And the pastor there is Bishop McDonald and Lady McDonald, my godparents. So God bless and hope to see you there. Thank you so much.